The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community channel that sees all things new. My name is Jennifer Nuya, streaming from Cavite, Philippines. You're watching the Disruptors Hour on TNC. We're happy to have you here and can't wait to deep dive into the dynamic and ever-evolving space of leadership, change management, transformation, innovation, and of course, disruption. Whether you're a seasoned leader, a change maker, or someone who is passionate about making a positive difference in the world, we believe that you'll find our show enlightening, informative, and most importantly, inspiring. Our show is designed to help you grow your leadership skills, navigate change with confidence, drive transformational innovation, and harness the power of disruption to create new avenues for success. Our expert guests share valuable insights, strategies, and best practices that will help you excel not only in your personal but also in your professional pursuits. But before we dive in today's conversation with our guest, a quick reminder from our partner organization. See you in a few minutes.
Scientists and policymakers around the world are well aware of humankind's current trajectory towards the devastation of its only and precious home, planet Earth. At unprecedented rates, living species are going extinct. Glaciers and ice caps are melting. Air pollution worsens. And we keep piling up plastics and trash in our oceans and rivers. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and discouraged by such a disheartening trend. A battle that greed, consumption, and unwavering ambition seems to be winning, leading all of us to an extinction-level event. Most efforts over the last 50 years to reverse climate change have failed. Governments at the national levels prioritize local politics and vote-winning initiatives. Companies are designed to exceed profit expectations in order to survive. International institutions are often bureaucratic and biased. And social media has often done more harm than good. The clock is ticking. And key universal indicators point to the need to substantially revert the trend in the next 7 years to avoid the point of no return. So how can we turn this ship around? We must wake up and come together in effective collaboration to jointly get out of the mess we've gotten ourselves into, for the many millions of lives at stake, for the benefit of us all. World System Solutions, WSS, is an NGO with a vision to unite, mobilize, and align humanity in common purpose to solve the climate crisis. WSS offers educational and climate change awareness workshops, guided by profound ethical and spiritual values, and a conviction that through consciously choosing to collaborate, we can reach our personal and collective potential and synergistic cooperation to reverse the climate crisis and reach harmony amongst ourselves and with our planet. WSS intends to help humanity arrive at the collective agreements and aligned intentions necessary to attain global sustainability. We're building Phoenix, the first comprehensive technology platform to boost humanity's collective creative efforts to build a better world from the ashes of our past choices. Phoenix will radically accelerate global collaboration and innovation. It is designed and built with the guidance of ethics-based collective leadership, fully committed to serve all human beings equally and the planet as a whole. We're already developing Phoenix's first module, Climate Scale, aimed at mitigating greenhouse gas emissions by offering a one-stop shop for all carbon and methane credit projects through a platform that will reduce the risk of greenwashing and unify and supercharge the now fragmented efforts happening around the world. It will also facilitate access to the latest data and expertise, bringing together leaders, researchers, experts, projects, and resources to mitigate the greenhouse gases emissions challenge. We can change. We can do this together. Whether you're a youth activist, a committed politician, a generous philanthropist, a visionary transformational champion, an innovative project leader, or a sustainability expert, come and join the WSS team and be part of the solution the world needs today for our planet and for the future of all living species and our very own children.
The world transformation process will affect all of us, and every voice is relevant as we move the needle on climate change within the next 5 years. You are a vital piece of the puzzle. Our collaboration will be the thread that weaves together the fabric of our efforts into a harmony quilt for the planet. There are several ways to collaborate with World System Solutions, including donation and collaboration opportunities. You will see on the screen flashed some links that you can click on or copy for later use. We hope that you can collaborate with us on this effort to co-create a sustainable planet for us all. Today, I'm happy to welcome to the Disruptors Hour Mitz Ceriales. Mitz Ceriales is the Chief Consultant of ALMEETRA Consulting and proud founder of futurekind. She spent 15 years in the corporate world under various capacities in companies from different industries, with particular focus on learning and development, sales and business development, customer service, client management, and people management. She's had the privilege of working with amazing companies like Henkel Asia Pacific Services Center, RCBC Bankard, Toyota Financials Philippines, Infinit-O, AB Heineken Philippines, and Xerox Corporation. Then 4 years ago, she took the plunge and founded ALMEETRA Consulting, a dynamic business consultancy firm. Welcome to the show, Mitz.
Thank you. Thank you.
How
Oh
do
my
you do,
God.
Mitz?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great also.
That's good. That's good. I'm ready for today.
Thank you for being able to share this space with us today. You're live streaming in Bukidnon.
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. So can you share with our viewers the impetus for you moving from the corporate to building your own consultancy firm?
Yeah, so I spent at least 19, no, 15 years in the corporate world. And indeed, 4 years ago, 4+ years ago, I made the decision. Probably it started to be a very, very difficult decision. I made the
Mm,
decision to go into entrepreneurship and open my own business consultancy firm. The
mm,
reason why I chose to move into business consultancy was because I was in learning and development and eventually had the fortunate opportunity to have roles in organizational development as well as in learning and development, mostly learning and development, organizational development. I decided that based on my skills, I should be able to hit the ground running if
mhm,
I am to move into business consultancy. So 4 years later, here we are.
mm. Wonderful. And are you are you allowed to cite any of your current clients with Almitra Consulting?
Yes, we are. We are working with. I'm not sure if I'll be able to provide the actual names, but currently for organizational development, we're working with a couple of government agencies in the
Mm-hmm.
process of a merger. So we're doing organizational development for them. Our deliverables for them are four pronged. So we've done already organizational assessment, we've moved into organizational development. The goal is to be able to make sure that the merger goes smoothly. So we've done workload analysis already for them. We're in the
Mm-hmm.
process of doing job descriptions, and then very shortly after, we'll move into drafting their competency frameworks, as well as coming up with training needs analysis, or perhaps a full training plan, training plan for everyone. So that's for organizational development. For learning and development, we have a couple of other companies we're preparing learning sessions on, or training programs on, and then the rest we're still waiting. So that's where we are in terms of the clients that we have right now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that. And on organization development, how do you, as a consultant, help the organization identify opportunities for organization development within their organization?
We normally follow a particular process, which we normally also do for learning sessions. And it's really about, if we are to come up with a particular we instruction, we call it the 5-step process of instructional design. So we take bits and pieces of that when we try to talk to our clients. Normally they tap us because there are already existing needs there, and they just need to have an external partner for it. So right off the bat, we would already know what they want and need. We just want to make sure that we're really on the right track. And to be able to do that, we always start our any engagement with our clients with interviews, focus group discussions. We try to assess what their documents indicate. What their documents indicate, if there are particular files that can also help us with the review. So it always starts with studying how the organization is now on paper, versus where they want to be, versus what the reality is like for now, especially with the employees or with the workforce that they have. Once the interviews are done, and once the focus group discussions or surveys are done, the review is done, then we should be able to come up with a set of next step recommendations for the client. Here's where we are seeing the organizational development to move into. I don't think you'll be needing this and that. I think what you want to be doing instead is this and that. And so after that one, we always ask, is this something that you would want to move forward into? If that's going to be a yes, then that's where we move the project, the project direction into. Normally, with organizational development, there are different models, different different models, different steps that a lot of business consultants would follow. In our case, we try to meet where the clients are. We want to see if it's something that they would really have the energy for, the resources for, to be able to delve into very specific projects. So depending on where they are and probably the degree into which they want to be making themselves available for a particular project, that's where we go for.
Mhm.
But that's for organizational development. There's a lot of things involved in a particular OD project. Sometimes, there is a need to segue. Other times there's a need to pivot. It really depends on what the client wants, on how the project progresses. So there already have been cases wherein on proposal, we have already identified the roadmap for a particular project, but somewhere along the way, something happens, plans change, and so we'll have to go with however the movement is. And because part of that, consultants really need to be very agile with the changes, whether that's internal or external, as far as it's affecting the clients, then that's where we go for.
Mhm. So it's more of facilitation of the change management initiative within the organization. Now, I'm curious, how do you help the organization measure the effectiveness of the organization development interventions that you have helped them craft?
That has to be a question very early on, before they even engage with us or before we even engage with them. One of the things that we have to be asking the clients is, what's going to be your metrics for success
Mm-hmm.
for a particular project. if that some if that is not on the cards, if it's something that they haven't really been able to identify yet, then we're able to provide them, okay, normally if this is the roadmap we're going for, this will be one, two, three, four, the deliverables that you're going for, with each deliverable being able to help you move forward with one part of the organization or the business. So yes, you're right in saying that we do facilitate first, because we do not take very lightly the fact that these are already very successful companies and very successful organizations. They probably, at least most of the time from our experience, they just need to have a fresh set of eyes
Mm-hmm.
to help them see where they are at, and if they have to be changing, and if they need to be changing, how, and who's
Mm-hmm.
going to be involved in that particular change. So in terms of performance metrics, we let them decide, or we decide for them, but on how we should be able to decide for them, all those things will already be identified with the kinds of interventions that we will do for them during the duration of the project.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. So you mentioned earlier that there are times that they have to shift gears, right? Maybe
Yes.
internal or external factor. But how do we also ensure that whatever interventions as we change, they are still aligned with organizational goals and objectives?
Yes, one of the questions as well that we do ask them very early on is, where do you want to be? Like the project that we have right now, we wanted to see, okay, if you're not rebranding or overhauling the core of the organization, meaning the vision, mission, and values, if those things don't change, then we want to know where you're trying. If you haven't done strategic planning yet or business planning yet, we still want to know where you want to be within the next 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the answer to that question, that's how we're able to break down what activities we will do. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, still taking note that there are specific deliverables that they specifically want to see. And from those deliverables, we just explain to them how those deliverables will be able to help them out, get them
Mm-hmm.
closer to the vision or to the goal that they want to be within the next 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 years. Does that answer your
Yes.
question? Okay.
Without mentioning any specific
Mhm.
organization,
Mhm.
can you share with our viewers an organization that approached you or you approach?
Mhm.
What was the what was the challenge? What was the
Mhm.
intervention? And what was the transformation afterwards?
Okay. Well, one of the many things that many clients I would remember was, especially during the pandemic. I think that's a time wherein resources are limited, but at the same time, something also needs to be done while the outside world is in a bit of a haze. You don't know what's going to happen within the next 1 to 2 months or even 1 to 2 years. So might as well just use this time to pivot if we
Mm-hmm.
have to. We were approached by one organization because they had uh, the sales were low.
Mm-hmm.
The sales were low, and so they asked us if it's something that we can help them train their their frontliners on in terms of
Mm-hmm.
sales, foundations of sales, because prior to that, they haven't have a full-fledged sales training. One of the questions we asked was, what were the initial causes, or what do they think were the initial causes of the low sales? Is it the pandemic, or is it something else?
Mm-hmm.
And so, in any case wherein we're asked by the client to run a training program, we always begin with training needs analysis. One of the things we found out during the training needs analysis is, yes, sales are low, but sales are not low because people all of a sudden, didn't have the motivation to really make sales for the business.
Mm-hmm.
Sales were low because there was not enough tools of trade provided to the sales force in order for them to move in an environment wherein you're literally needed to have a car because there's no transportation, or you literally need to have some sort of perhaps an iPad or a CRM, any system that can help you do your job in a world wherein almost no one would allow you to meet them face to face. And so, based on our training needs analysis, we found out that people are not, because a lot of times in sales, a lot of things are going on, but most of the time, people are really not just motivated or something's going on with their lives. In this case, it's a matter of tools of trade. So we
Mm-hmm.
went back to the client and said, sales are low, yes, but sales are not low because they don't want to work or they're not motivated to work. They want to work. They just don't have the right tools or enough tools in order for them to be able to work.
Mm-hmm.
So our recommendations were two-pronged. Number one, you can still move ahead with a training program if it's a training program you want, but our suggestion is not to train the frontliners first, but to train the sales leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever they're reporting to directly, that's who we will train. Why? In a sales organization wherein sales are low, our principle is if sales are low, the first people you need to be looking at should be the ones managing the frontliners. When sales are high, the first people that you have to be thanking for because sales are high would be the frontliners. So in this case, sales was a bit problematic. Then we would want to be training the people managing them first. We want to see what they're doing. We want to see how they're doing what they're supposed to do in a way that's really benefiting the people reporting directly to them. The second recommendation we had was we don't do the training, but our suggestion is find a way to make sure that you can provide these tools of trade for your sales force. Either give them a car or probably increase their travel allowance so that, if there are other ways for them to get to their client meetings so that they can increase their sales, they should be able to do that a little bit more than what they have right now. We ended with training their sales managers first while they were trying to figure out the tools of trade, which was definitely a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a win for us because there was still an engagement, but also a win for the people who they were supposed to serve, which were the frontliners.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward probably 3 to 4 months after that, in cases wherein there's a training program, we really do not have, it's very challenging to be able to measure ROI.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we always tell our clients is it's still a training program. At best, retention is at 10%, which means 90% needs to really be an effort coming from the organization. But when we check in on them 30 days or a couple of months after the training program, they weren't yet where they were supposed to be in terms of sales goal, but they were getting there. At least they already now had a better understanding that, hey, if I'm a sales manager, I'm not just there to be able to answer inquiries for my team.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many things that go into becoming a sales manager. There are so many functions that a sales manager needs to happen. A lot of competence is expected from them. And so when we get back to them, at least, we were happy that it wasn't just, a mental change. I have to be a lot of things for my people, but I have to start executing what I need to be executing for my direct reports.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's just one of the many examples.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are a lot of any of other success stories. Uh, so you mentioned about the pandemic. You helped this
Mhm.
organization not only survive but thrive despite the pandemic. Have you noted any other trends that organizations should leverage on when it comes to people management and performance management, just like this organization that you assisted?
Yeah, definitely a lot of what were supposed to be just forecasted behaviors of employees from probably mid last year are now really starting to become a reality more and more for organizations. What were these forecasted things? Number one, employees are hoping to, basically in terms of behaviors, employees are of course hoping to have the flexibility in terms of their jobs. And we're not just talking about the usual flexibility that we're used to, like I can work from home even if my tasks at work are this and that. Right now they're not just looking into that, they want to be working for organizations that can provide them flexibility in terms of the time. So it's not just going to be a 9 to 5 now. I can work as and when I need or want to be working for as long as I'm able to still hit or provide the company the deliverables that they want or need.
Mhm.
And also flexibility in terms of the people that they work with and how they should be working with these people. So certain tasks or certain jobs or projects can be approached in terms of how they want it to be. Flexibility like that, a lot of employees are already looking for. Number two, employees are also looking for companies wherein they would be given more time to recharge,
Mhm.
really rest. Because we used to have this very implied ideal worker. And when we
Mhm.
say ideal worker, someone who can answer a boss's email 24/7.
Mhm.
You know that work life balance, instead of it being a cycle,
Mhm.
is now just becoming a concept that we want to achieve individually.
Mhm.
And so many employees are already looking into, okay, I need to find that company that doesn't just provide me with so many vacation leaves or so many sick leaves, but a company that as and when I need to rest will allow me to rest.
Mhm.
A company that's very particular with disconnecting or having their employees disconnect. You know,
Mhm.
when 6 p.m. is, when 6 p.m., when once it's already 6 p.m., I don't want anyone seeing anyone in the workstations. 6 p.m., please don't email me. It's supposed to be time for rest, time for family already. And
Mhm.
employees are also looking for organizations that are whose values are really aligned with theirs. And because of this changing needs and wants of employees, organizations are realizing, hey, if we are to do specific activities or interventions in the name of employee engagement, we're not just going to do it because it's a checklist for us, or we're not just going to do it because we have a budget for it. We're going to do it because we want to have a more engaged workforce.
Mhm.
Apparently, they said that I think it's about 70% of the problems of employees with engagement is attributed to the people who they're directly reporting for,
Mhm.
aka their immediate managers. And a
Mhm.
lot of immediate managers are already taking it on their shoulders, putting it on their plate that employee engagement is no longer just a responsibility for the HR department. It should also be my responsibility as a manager to make sure that I have very engaged direct reports.
Mhm.
So that's one of the trends that we're seeing in terms of people and performance management. Number two, we're seeing more and more industries really looking into people and performance management. Industries who you haven't seen or would not normally expect to really be so focused on people and performance
Mhm.
management. Very specifically, at least from our experience, it would be the IT industry. Any company related with tech, we've been getting more and more inquiries from them.
Mhm.
I wanted to do a case study on that, and probably just a survey or something. I'm very curious myself why
Mhm.
that is going to be the case. But it's nice to be in a business environment where people and performance management isn't just something that's very specific to only certain industries or certain companies.
Mhm.
Companies who have not done people management or performance, especially performance management in the past, are all the more open to have performance management systems institutionalized within their respective organizations.
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping to see more of that over time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be very interested also to check out if ever you come up with such case study.
Yes. Yes.
So this has been a very good conversation, Mitz. So for the meantime, let's take a short break. So dear
Okay.
viewers, please stick around and you can use the time in the interim to stretch your legs or grab a light snack. And we'll see you after this brief reminder from our partners. The new channel is an online, alternative new media platform of online shows for people on the go. We know you're busy, so we've made it easy for you to watch your own customized playlist of engaging, authentic, and original content. TNC is your passport to a world of Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. One of our most exciting shows is the the Disruptors Hour, airing every Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Philippine Standard Time, which covers everything from leadership to innovation, change management, transformation, and disruption, all curated with you, our viewers, in mind. And the best thing about it, you can watch it anytime, anywhere, live or on replay via Facebook or YouTube. Follow us on IG, listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search hashtag TNC Now. We're always looking for new partnerships and sponsorships. So if you're interested in working with us, please email now at thenewchannel.com or send us a DM. We're excited to see what we can achieve together. Before we went on a break, we were conversing with Mitz Ceriales of ALMEETRA Consulting, and she shared with us her experience about helping organizations with their learning interventions and organization development interventions. So we also talked about the different trends that organizations can leverage on to make sure that they are able to navigate the changing business landscape while staying true to their organizational goals and objectives. So let's welcome back Mitz to the show. Hello, Mitz. I hope that you've enjoyed that quick break also.
Yes.
All right. So we've discussed about learning and development and also performance management and organizational development. On a lighter note, would you like to share with our viewers what you're doing with Future Kind?
Oh, with Future Kind, it's a very small initiative we're in because most of our engagements have really been on learning and development, because for some reason when clients or when organizations are going through a tough time, one of the first few things that they will really go for will be trainings. So we've done mostly trainings, and I've always wanted to, for corporate social responsibility, I've always wanted to have something that has to do with learning. And Future Kind is actually our way of giving back into the community. So I grew up in Manila, but I was born in Manila, but I grew up in Bukidnon, and that's where I am now and have been, except when we have clients in Manila. So that's where we are. But Future Kind really focuses on providing whatever students' needs are. So we're not just focusing on paying for their tuition fees or paying for miscellaneous. We're also focusing on perhaps providing them allowances or transportation allowances at that, to and from school. And we have less than 10 scholars right now. When we started Future Kind, I really wanted to be a bit different in the sense that I didn't want to have scholars and then, require them to have certain grades. At least from my end, for as long as they don't have problems with a guidance counselor, they don't have problems behavior wise or attitude wise at school, they were good. We started this initiative February of 2021, I think. We didn't know how long COVID was going to be, and we knew that a lot of students then had to stop school for some reason. So we asked if there would be anyone interested to apply for a scholarship with Future Kind. We first intended it to be, apply for a scholarship if you're about to graduate. Because from my, at least from my observation here in Bukidnon, there are so many people who failed to finish school, and a lot of them are about to graduate the moment they stopped school. And so we wanted them to be able to give that, we wanted to give that chance to them, to really be able to graduate. And that's where but that's how basically we started it. Uh, yeah, I haven't really thought about Future Kind for a while now, but that's where we are. And eventually we made it part and parcel of what Almeetra should be doing, at least in corporate social responsibility. Also, because I'm a sponsored child myself. So someone from the UK, a UK couple, no, a Scottish couple sent me to school from kindergarten up until I finished college. And I wanted it to be my way of giving back. It's not a lot that we give, but at least in terms of requirements, we don't want them to be sending us so many. We just wanted the scholars to tell us what you need and how we can help you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we come in. So on and off, we also do not require them to tell us how they're doing at school. We don't ask for their grades. We just, let them message us as and when we're needed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's future kind.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Mitz. So these are children, students from different parts of the Philippines, not only Bukidnon, not only Manila.
Mostly Bukidnon, because we really wanted to focus on this in this area. But we also have scholars from a couple more parts of the country, specifically Calabarzon.
Mm.
So yes.
Why Calabarzon? I'm interested.
Oh, you're interested. It just it just happened. It just happened. One of my friends asked
Mm.
if I can help one of his staff who was then working, I think tutoring his kids during that time and
Mm.
also working for one of his shops.
Mm.
So and so I said yes.
That's
So I
very inspiring.
so usually they just happen like a parent would approach me to ask if I can still take in one more scholar, and that's how it usually happens.
Mm. Mm.
Because apparently, when we put it out on Facebook to get applications for the scholarship, we hardly had anything. We hardly got any application for it. I'm not sure if it was the timing and all that, but eventually we got more and more, but they were usually from people who I already knew personally
Mm.
and who just kind of asked me if I would be willing to help.
Mm. 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 Inspiring. Thank you so much, Mitz, for choosing to be one of our community of change makers and key opinion leaders. And thank you for choosing to spend your morning with us today and with our viewers. How can they stay connected with you? How can they follow you on social media and
Yes.
also learn more about your products and services?
Thank you. So again, I'm the chief consultant of ALMEETRA Consulting. You can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn for now. You can search at ALMEETRA for Facebook, or you can do the same for LinkedIn. We're yet to redo our website, revamp our website again. So hopefully we'll be able to give you more information on that through our social media channels. Thank you. By the way, so we're a business consultancy, as Jen mentioned earlier, but our focus really are on organizational development, continuous
Mhm.
improvement, learning and development, and performance management. So that's where we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitz. And we look forward to learning more about your work in Almitra Consulting and also in Future Kind.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen, for having me.
Our pleasure. Dear viewers, thank you for choosing your Thursday morning with us. Next week, Thursday, I'll see you again at 10:30 a.m. Philippine Standard Time. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are in the world. God bless everyone.